There is an interesting defamation case going on at the moment there in the High Court. Today is the fourth day, and up to now it's Enoch Burke. Enoch Burke has sued the Sunday Independent for what he claims was an article published in October 2022 which defamed him, which basically diminished his reputation or affected his reputation. The background to the case is, at the time, Enoch Burke had been jailed for contempt of court, and the Sunday Independent, this was the first time he was jailed for contempt of court for his refusal to stay away from Wilson's Hospital School and his refusal to abide by the court order that was issued by the High Court. The Sunday Independent then, sometime afterwards, pretty soon afterwards, published a report in the Sunday Independent to the effect that Enoch Burke had been moved in Mountjoy prison because he was annoying other prisoners. In other words, other prisoners found him and his views so annoying and so on that the prison authorities felt it prudent to move him for his own safety. This proved not to be the case, and the prison governor or prison service PRO issued a statement saying that he was moved not because of that, but for operational reasons or something of that nature. So the Sunday Independent then, this article was published in October 22. They withdrew the article online in January 2023 and they issued an apology apparently. So they withdrew the article, they accepted that it was inaccurate and withdrew the article from the online version, etc. Obviously there's nothing that could be done about the version in the printed Sunday Independent, and they apologised. However, Enoch Burke brought defamation proceedings in any case. The case is going on at the moment, and yesterday Enoch Burke called his mother, Martina Burke, in evidence, and she was cross-examined by counsel for the Sunday Independent. But just to dip into the case now, and I will do a report on it when it's finished, today is the fourth day. So it started on Tuesday of this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and today is the fourth and last day apparently, and submissions will be made today, and then it'll be up to the judge to decide whether Enoch Burke was defamed or not. Some of the evidence so far has been interesting insofar as Enoch Burke gave evidence that his reputation was damaged as a consequence of this article, and that other than this article there was no damage to his reputation, that the children in the school, pupils in his school were very appreciative of him, and they saw him as some sort of a character, you know, like a sort of a celebrity or whatever, and they had flash dances or flash mobs or some sort of dancing in appreciation of his efforts, etc., etc. The evidence for the Sunday Independent wasn't along those lines at all, and basically said that that wasn't the case, that he was over-egging the pudding, etc., and that he achieved some sort of notoriety, all right, as a consequence of his dispute with Wilson's Hospital School. But he also claimed, Enoch Burke, that the prisoners in Mountjoy appreciated him and they told him he shouldn't be in there and so on and so forth. So that was some of the evidence given to date. But yesterday then, the editor of the Sunday Independent was in the witness box, and he was being cross-examined by Enoch Burke. And the editor, he did not at all accept Enoch Burke was defamed in the report. So he denies that Enoch Burke was actually defamed in the report. He does say that there was some minor inaccuracies in the report in the newspaper, but that Enoch Burke was not defamed. He said, Alan English is the Sunday Independent editor, he said that it was eminently possible that other prisoners found Mr. Burke annoying. So the October 2022 article, that claimed that Enoch Burke was moved to a different jail cell for his own safety as he was annoying other prisoners. This contained inaccuracies for which the paper held up its hands, the editor said, in giving evidence yesterday in the High Court. Alan English said that the article would have been reviewed by their legal advisors and there were no pre-publication red flags about the piece over which Mr. Burke is suing for alleged defamation. He accepted, Mr. English accepted that there were some inaccuracies, but he considered those inaccuracies to be minor. And he said the paper apologised. But he does not accept, he said, that it contained anything defamatory. He also said that Mr. Burke became a national talking point after the court heard of his refusal to stay away from Wilson's Hospital School in County Westmeath. He was first jailed in early September 2022 for breaching a court order restraining him from attending at the school, which had suspended and later dismissed him after he publicly objected to being instructed to refer to a male student using they, them pronouns. On the third day of the case, the defamation action, Enoch Burke versus the Sunday Independent, Mr. English said there's a distinction between the public interest and what the public are interested in, but he said that Mr. Burke's situation ticked both boxes. Mr. Burke is suing Media House, which is the owner of the Sunday Independent, or the publisher, and he's also suing the newspaper's editor, Alan English, and the reporter, Ali Bracken. He's alleging that he was defamed in this story that was published in October 2022 during his first prison stint. The article cited unnamed sources in its statement that Mr. Burke had been moved to a new jail cell for his own safety as he was, quote, annoying other prisoners and, quote, repeatedly expressing his outspoken views and beliefs. The newspaper did issue an apology in January 2023, clarified that Mr. Burke's cell change was for, quote, operational reasons only and not for reasons stated in the article. It strongly denies defamation, however, and pleads fair and reasonable publication on a matter of public interest. Mr. English said he had the utmost respect for the writer of the article, etc., etc. During cross-examination then, Enoch Burke pressed him on elements of the story that Mr. Burke contends were untrue, but for which the paper did not apologise. Mr. Burke, or Mr. English rather, the editor, disagreed with his propositions and said it is eminently possible that Mr. Burke was indeed annoying other prisoners. He disputed Mr. Burke's characterisation of the piece as a bag of lies, saying instead that there were inaccuracies and we held our hands up. Earlier, Mr. Burke had called his mother to the stand. Martina Burke said she was absolutely horrified and deeply humiliated after reading the utterly false defamatory article. Mrs. Burke said she had known her son for more than 30 years. He's reserved and very private. She said the story seemed to be a malicious attempt to destroy her son and assassinate his character. Asked if she was humiliated when her son was imprisoned, she said she's not humiliated by someone standing up for their beliefs. Mr. Lupton, that's senior counsel for the newspaper, asked if she was distressed when he was sent to Mountjoy. She said she was not. She denied she was directing her son to remain in prison. The defence will continue presenting its evidence on Friday, that's today, before the parties make their final submissions, and it denies Mr. Burke's claims. So the Sunday Independent is denying the defamation claim that Mr. Burke is making arising from this article. The outcome will be interesting. The Sunday Independent is saying that the reputational damage that was done to Mr. Burke was actually self-inflicted by his own behaviour and carry on in the school and in the courts and so on and so forth since that time, but he claims his reputation was damaged, etc., as a consequence of the publication of this article. And as I say, they published an apology and withdrew it from the online version and retracted it and clarified that they had made mistakes, held their hands up. That's their position. So the outcome of that case will be interesting. I'll tell you one thing though, it's going to be, well, for one side, certainly there's going to be pretty high legal costs because 4 days or 5 days in the High Court is not cheap. And today is day 4, and today I think the defence is finalising their position, their case, and then there's going to be submissions. So I don't know whether it's going to go in to another day, a 5th day or not, but you know, 4 days or 5 days in the High Court, you're talking real money with between junior counsel, senior counsel, solicitors and the whole shooting match. Enoch Burke obviously is representing himself, so he doesn't have to worry about the costs. From that perspective, I suppose, at this case, at this stage, although obviously if he loses, then costs might become an issue, all right. But anyway, that is the story. I'll do an article, or do a video rather, when it's finished. Hope you find the video useful. If you do, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up down below. Thanks a lot.